I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible.
The Matrix was a turning point in movie history. It was a fantastically well-written riff on a classic story format, with original, mind-blowing special effects that perfectly fit the concept. That quality, combined with its influence on filmmaking, gave it everything it needed to be the next Star Wars. But something went wrong. The sequels confused and disappointed a lot of people, and the franchise never recovered. But I think they did have great ideas that might have been saved if things were done differently. And I want to show you what I mean. First, we're going to continue the plot from the first Matrix film. This was very clear and focused writing, but the sequels lost it. This happens a lot because writers tend to forget that they have months or years to understand their plot, but audiences only have minutes. And here, the sequels introduced far more plot threads than viewers could follow or care about. But the first movie had just one. What was really going on in the world? And it revealed it step by step, making it clear and interesting. And the final message introduced one more goal for the sequels, freeing everyone from the Matrix. And we're going to keep that and build our version around it. Ready to give it a try? Alright. The Matrix Reloaded starts with the red pill speech, but it's actually Neo speaking to someone else who they're freeing from the Matrix. This will show already how things have progressed from the first movie. They fight agents, and we see Neo handle them easily with his new abilities. They return to the real world on the ship with the person they rescued. Morpheus compliments Neo on the speech and says that next, they're headed to Zion. Now, the reveal of Zion will be a big moment, and we'll experience it, like everything else, alongside Neo. In the original sequels, Neo was forgotten at times, but he's the one we connect to. We take this whole journey with him, and in this movie, we journey to a very different Zion. There are no senators or counselors or politics. It's a natural, simple society on beautiful land. Morpheus explains that the rat race of the normal world was all part of the machine's control. This is the opposite. In this story, Zion is paradise. You want to bring people there. I think this is important for the movie to work on a deep level. But we don't stay long, because this movie is about the Matrix and the struggle there. So after Neo meets the people in Zion, they get word that the Oracle wants to meet with them. She's plugged in at Zion, but can only speak in the Matrix. So they re-enter and fight their way to the Oracle's home. Now, questioning the Oracle's motivations just makes it harder to connect to the characters. So in this movie, she's totally good. Someone who volunteered to have her whole brain plugged into the Matrix's data to help everyone else. And she underlines the plot for us by telling Neo that his destiny is to free all of humanity from the Matrix. Morpheus then explains that until now, they've only been able to free one person at a time. They tried creating a program in the Matrix that could do more, but they could never make it work. But he's interrupted when they get news that Cipher, who has been repaired by the machines, has broken into Zion, locked himself in a room, and jacked into the Matrix. They go in and chase him, but he gets away and gives Zion's data to Agent Smith. However, the moment he does, Agent Smith ignores their deal, says he wants more, and the machines rip apart Cipher's brain, making him die painfully as they watch. And now, Agent Smith receives Cipher's information and transforms into a far more powerful being. He attacks Neo with new abilities, like moving the ground under their feet. Like a true hero, Neo tries to fight to the death, but he has no chance. Morpheus and Trinity yank him out, just as the machines have now found Zion and are attacking. This is the climax of the second film. The humans are overwhelmed. The Oracle, their homes, and everything else is getting destroyed. Morpheus, Neo, and Trinity save the Oracle's mainframe and get to their ship, but there's not enough space. So Morpheus lets Neo and Trinity get on, throws the mainframe into his seat, and launches it, leaving himself behind. Now, in the original films, Trinity dies, but romance is important, and Morpheus had the strongest beliefs, so he makes the sacrifice. Neo and Trinity are flown away, watching Zion get crushed, but vowing to save humanity. And that's the second movie, which might be a good time for a break. Alright, we know where Reloaded left off. Let's jump into Revolutions. The movie begins with Neo entering the Matrix, and we see that it's now a wasteland, where people are starving, hiding, and trapped. Neo helps as many people as he can, until from the ship, Trinity tells him that they've made contact with other survivors, who escaped on other ships. Neo meets them in the Matrix, and they take him to meet the Merovingian. Now before, the Merovingian was one of many living programs in the Matrix. But here, we're combining all those guys into one simpler character. The Merovingian is the program Morpheus described in our last movie, who can potentially free everyone in the Matrix, but who didn't function. He's in the form of a drug dealer with a stash of red pills, and he's a complete jerk. Neo asks why, and they explain that he was programmed that way to hide the fact that he was helping humans. And even now, the machines think he's one of them. This gives him a unique role and a unique personality, which characters need. Now, the Merovingian explains that the machines have now learned to keep people alive without happiness. But before they can say more, Agent Smith finds them and totally overwhelms them in combat, while giving an arrogant speech about knowledge being power. A couple of the survivors are killed, and all Neo can do is take the rest and escape. Trinity jacks Neo out and tells him he almost died, and she looks in his eyes. This is the first romantic moment between them. We've saved it until now. After that, they meet with the other ships and try to come up with a plan. Trinity happens to mention Smith's speech about knowledge and power, and Neo remembers and tells everyone what Morpheus left them, the Oracle's mainframe. They all warn him about using it, saying that the Oracle sacrificed her humanity just to handle some of that information. Neo says that if he's the one, then he can take it, and if not, he'll die trying. So they set it up and plug him in. We get a light show as Neo's brain floods with data. The survivors watch, saying it's killing him, but Neo's mind not only survives, but starts to absorb it. Through his eyes, the history of the Matrix passes before us. Other worlds, the machine's birth, and the code behind all of it. Outside, there's silence. Then they hear from Neo, telling them to go to the machine core through a special entry point. Trinity says to trust him, and they take off. Meanwhile, Neo emerges in the Matrix and destroys the lesser agents who attack him, showing his new strength. He then flies to the Merovingian and asks if his distribution program can still work. He nods, and before he can say more, Neo grabs him and they teleport to his home, where Neo waves a hand and his red pills start to glow. With a smile, the Merovingian finally runs his program, merging with the red lights and covering the world with a flash. We see people all over the Matrix gaining the real knowledge that Morpheus dreamed about, and Agent Smith sees it too. In the core, Trinity and the others get instructions from Neo to start unplugging as many people as they can from the pods. They're all ready to be freed. They agree, but Agent Smith comes on their screens, burning with power, and says to tell Neo that he's coming for him. But Neo speaks out loud and says to tell Agent Smith that I'm coming for him. In the Matrix, they come face to face. Agent Smith says that he doesn't care what humanity knows. He owns them. Neo says, I disagree. Smith says, then you will die, and starts breaking down the Matrix, collapsing buildings, moving mountains, throwing it all at Neo. But Neo survives, teleporting away, blocking it with his own power and protecting the people, and this continues as they fight. Meanwhile, Trinity and the survivors are fighting off the machine ships and unplugging people from the Matrix. And as the people come out, they are fully aware and start unplugging others, freeing more and more and more. And something happens. Each freed person reduces the machine's power. Their ships move slower, then start to drop. And inside the Matrix, Agent Smith gets weaker and weaker, until Neo finally overpowers him and pins him to the ground. As the last people vanish, Smith says, "What is this?" And Neo tells him that this is where you crash. And with a final blow, Agent Smith glitches out and disappears. Neo leaves the empty and dying Matrix for the last time, returning to find not only the survivors, but countless freed people, all cheering him. And Trinity greets him with a passionate kiss. We finish with a voiceover where Neo says that they can now build the world that's meant to be. And whatever happens, humanity has one thing they'll never lose: freedom. What we focused on here was taking the great ideas that were already there and trying to fit them to a simple and natural plot that's hopefully entertaining. So, let me know if it worked. If it did, click that bell, and thanks for watching.